Welcome along, everybody. Just 4 minutes behind schedule, nice and punctual, to our 2026 Cheltenham Festival Handicap Preview live stream. Just a few days to go now until the 4-day extravaganza kicks off on Tuesday. We are the Jump Show, joined by Let's Talk Racing for our annual conglomeration. Great to have the lads along. And this stream is powered by Priced Up. Please do remember to like this video. It does help us out massively on the YouTube algorithm. And if we get 500 likes for this pre-Cheltenham special, that would be tremendous, really. Also, if you can, subscribe to both our channels, Let's Talk Racing and The Jump Show. If you haven't already, it's completely free to do so. And as far as The Jump Show subscriptions are concerned, we'd love to reach 4,000 before the Cheltenham Festival, only a few days to get there, but we're not too far away, so that would really help us out as well. Time to say hello to everyone, and Let's Talk Racing. We'll start with you, Andrew and Josh. Andrew, come to you first. You were at Sandown today. A nice little aperitif ahead of next week.
Yeah, very much, Tom. Yeah, a nice little kind of way to get stuck into the week that's coming. You're mentioning their annual kind of collaboration, and yet I remember very much so from last year, you weren't here.
Yeah, Jason Maben's already been on. No sick note for Bully this year. Correct, Jason. I'm alive and well. I'm glad to be back.
There's still time for something to go wrong. Internet cut out, something else will come up. Let's not count our chickens just yet.
I'm glad it's taken Andrew all of a minute to come up with that. It didn't take you long.
No, I thought I was on par for that. It took me a minute to get there, but anyway.
Josh, how are you, mate? Looking forward to next week, I imagine.
Yeah, cannot wait now. Lots of talking. But I do think it's important that we give you a round of applause for turning up. It's about time.
Thanks, everyone.
We weren't quite sure. The Betfair markets were very volatile in the lead up to the stream. But you have joined. And no, it's great to have you, Bull.
I saw a comment just there from Nick Morton who said, gutted RE passing wife, and I read that for a moment. I thought his wife had died, but I think it's about the horse, so we're okay. I think we're okay. Yeah.
Can we get a clarification, please?
Yeah, Nick, can you brighten up the comment? Just tell us she's all right. Dan, Jake, great to have you along as always. It's been a pleasure being alongside you lads for the course of the last few months or so. Jake, how are you? And as always, well done for putting on this live stream, because if it was up to me, I'd have no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, we don't trust you with anything to do with technical stuff, do we, Bully? Don't even know what a like is on YouTube, really, do you? Yeah, they're obviously buzzing now. Lots of work to be done between now and Tuesday in terms of write-ups and stuff. But yeah, buzzing to the live stream, buzzing to drive up to Cheltenham and get it all started.
And Dan, you've got you can't really look forward to it too much because you've got a really exciting shift at Taunton before that.
Oh, yeah. And anyone, I would advise you to go check out the Taunton card on Monday, and that'll really whet the appetite. I think there's a good 4 Class 5 handicaps there. It's a real downward kick in the nads when I've gone from looking at quality horses who I just kind of know to looking up 78 rated hurdlers who are 0 from 15. It really does humble you. So this is actually going to be a nice, refreshing break, to be honest, because it's been a slog over the last few hours.
If there's any man who can get a winner of a Class 5 handicap hurdle, Dan, it is you. I have no doubt about that. The way this is going to go, if you could put your comments, write them, and we will try and read out the best of those and give us your best bets as well. We'd love to hear what you think as we go through this.
First winner of the night.
You.
My favourite comment was from @GC_London, who said, "You're late." So I thought, this is a man who's really on it. And then his next comment was, "Here for Dan Overall's tips." I won't lie. Yeah, so I thought, God, he's lost his way already.
Apologies.
We have had one comment asking Andrew how many Paul Nolan horses win and how far the devil hammers the doctor by. So we'll get to that. Go on, Andrew.
We'll get there, Tom. But I love the fact that you've enlisted the fact that the people watching are having to write the comments and just pinpoint them down below, because that's tremendous work, Tom.
I don't even know how you'd write a comment on this stream.
You're there as if to write a comment on YouTube is to scribe it down yourself. Like
my favorite thing at the start of this stream is I think Bully's definitely be backing Nick Rocket in the Grand National, because look at that jumper.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I'm wearing the
Either that, or
colours.
he's a big Oliver McKiernan fan after his winner's day.
I love the boss.
Do you know, I did think this was a bit of a daring thing to wear, and yeah, receiving pelters, I think, fair enough.
Espresso Milan all the way in the Bartlett.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I might wear this on the Friday. Who knows? Right, we're gonna go through handicaps chronologically day by day, and it's all a bit different this year to previous years in terms of the order. So we're going to start, lads, aren't we? We're looking at the Fred Winter, which is the first handicap on the opening day, and I think the best place to go first off is to a man who has been a massive follower of Saratoga for a good while now. That is Mr. Jake Price. You must be getting quite excited now, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, all the talk has been about taking him on, which is kind of understandable considering the price he is. Obviously, 5-1 around that type of price of the front of the market. You know, if anyone's looking at it fresh now, I would still say he has a brilliant chance, and I probably would still have a point win on him at that price. But I can understand why people want to take him on. So I can, you know, the chat hasn't been about him, and he's not shortened any further. I'm not sure if he's hit his basement price. Perhaps once people start looking at the final decks, they'll start coming around to him a bit more. But yeah, he's got clear chance for all to see. Qualified within around 30 days, 3 runs, got them in nice and quickly. Had a nice break since then to come here, and he's got a great chance. The one though that I will be backing, because obviously we're in a good anti-post position, don't want to let that go to waste. We are going to be backing something else, and Glen to Glen is the one I've kind of come around to as being that horse. I think that he's another one who qualified quite quickly, but towards the beginning of the season, November to December, he qualified here with his 3 runs, 2 runs that were quite quiet in Avon and Punchestown, then went to Cork and beat Alea. Now Alea is a pretty nice horse himself. Is also in the race. Manila Boss was in that race, and as we've already alluded to, won today at Goran. So the form boost is there. But yeah, I think that Glen to Glen is probably the one I'm most interested of Joseph O'Brien's horses, and obviously he's got a fantastic record in the race as well.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff, Jay. I've been following you, obviously, the whole season, and Saratoga's been one you've had on your radar for a long time. Josh, it was an absolute pleasure to be alongside you last night on the Friday Club sofa, I must admit, for Racing TV. And on it, you said that you are a bit of a fan of La Luna Artista. Is that right?
Nope, didn't say that.
Also in orange and black, weirdly as well.
That one wrong. I don't know why I thought you'd said that. Maybe that was Steve Ryder I was talking to yesterday. Someone definitely said to me, sorry, I thought it was you.
No, it's fine. I can make a case if you want.
No, if you want to, yeah. I was going to ask you, who do you fancy otherwise?
To be honest with you, it's the one handicap I don't have a massive say in, because I do think that Saratoga is dangerous. I'm not a massive fan of Winston Jr., but there's so many warm vibes. You have so many in there that have got chances. I thought BB Muss was interesting in the first race at Sandown today. Needed to win to get in, did. I just about come down on Man Lager, but it's not a confident one because you need flat experience, and that's something that she doesn't have. She's only had 2 starts here, bumped into Manganese and then beat Pourquoi Pas Papa at Haydock when Brian Hughes, I thought, did everything to win by a small margin. I just think that she could possibly mix it in a Triumph Hurdle. I think she'd be beating a Triumph Hurdle, but a mark of 130, I think she'd be competitive in one. So back into a handicap, I just thought she was interesting. I think she's probably better than a mark, but then you could say the same thing about so many of them. I really respect Amez for James Owen. I thought a mark of 128 probably is more than fair. Has had the run on the flat at Lingfield to get him spot on for it. Bumped into Minella Study at Weatherby and was probably fairly unlucky that day, I thought. Has the flat experience as well. So I don't really know. Probably Man Lager just.
Okay, we've got Coiler Eyes, who's commented saying he's a fan of La Luna, or she's a fan of La Luna Artista. It was actually Ollie Bell who said it, so I've got my lines crossed. I'm afraid he fancies that one.
They're very similar people, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, both very handsome, exceptional broadcasters. Andrew, over to you. Who do you fancy in the Fred Winter?
Yeah, been a big fan of Munsif for quite a while, Tom. I suppose I didn't respond to the BB Muss news this afternoon as well as everyone else did, because he's kind of knocked Munsif down a place, and he's currently 24 now in the list, and he needs to come out to get into the race. I think a bit of nicer ground will suit based on his flat form. Tom, you're the flat man in all 5 of us here. But from what I could deem from his flat runs, he needed a big field, handicap, and a bit of nicer ground. And the fact that they've run him in 3 races of kind of smaller nature of that respect, I think sits well. If he does get in off 126, he's got an absolutely huge chance. Of course, he's going to be a winner that if he does win, he may possibly get booed into the winners' enclosure, considering I don't think Charles and Philip Burns are possibly kind of top of the Christmas card list of plenty of Cheltenham Festival punters at the moment. But this horse does have a very, very good chance. It's just a case at the moment you're hoping that 2 get out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waiting game, isn't it, I suppose? I wonder if any horses have been booed into the winners' enclosure at Cheltenham. I have my doubts that's happened. But...
I was close to booing Lossymouth in the Mare's Hurdle last year, if that counts.
No, so sorry. No, nobody else was, other than the fact that Dan tried to deck a bloke beside me because he was cheering in Lossymouth.
He had it coming.
One of the more
justified.
Situations.
I've just seen Lewis 120 has commented here, and I have to say this has really put a lot of excitement into me. 6.5 in the county is the bet of the week, and we'll come to that later. But I've got that in my portfolio. So Lewis,
do you reckon Lewis is your burner account, Tom?
I've got my phone.
Burner account, though. That's the issue.
GC London has said both Ollie and Josh are giants, and I would go along with that. Tall men. Tall men indeed.
He's not talking about stature.
Right, it's not 9 o'clock yet, so let's just keep that chat on the down low. Dan, let's try and make this a little bit more PG. Who do you like in the Fred Winter?
Yeah, I'd be with Josh on Manlager, really. I don't think it's a strong opinion. I think this is one of the stronger handicaps we'll preview all night, to be honest. And it wouldn't surprise me if this worked out like a couple of years ago where we had the 4-year-olds basically come out and win everything either late in the spring or early part of next season. I mean, the fact we've been talking about Munsif not being able to get in, I think shows you the strength and depth this race has. But Manlager was about this price to win the Triumph Hurdle at the start of the year. Like, she was very much the hype horse early part of the year. You can now back her off a mark 130 around 6-7 to 1. I agree with what was said earlier. It was a Brian Hughes masterclass last time. It was very much a lesson on the inside and not too far, Brian, not too far. I don't think the weight concession with Pourquoi Papa will be enough. I think she, like Josh, I think she could run in the Triumph and be very competitive. It can't be a massively strong play because I think it's a good race, but she'd be the way I'm leaning.
Okay. That's the first handicap on the card. And
sorry, Bully, before we move on, very sorry for interrupting. The one thing that I quite enjoy about Munsif possibly not getting in is off a mark of 126. It kind of means that next year you're not going to be able to cheat as much as you think, and you are going to have to show your hand a little bit more. And I think that will give punters more of a position going into future years because you'll have to show your hand a bit.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh. Cheers, mate. Yeah.
It's not just you, Bull, gets pelters.
Yeah,
Dalina Artista is number 26 on the list, so she probably is going to struggle because she needs 4 to come out. Whereas Munsif, I could probably see him squeezing in, but yeah, Dalina Artista.
What is going to come out? Is Batutia probably
that's
come
the
out?
Problem, yeah.
Barbazon maybe, but yeah, there's not much, is there?
I was saying earlier, if needs be, I'll call up Paul and James this evening and say, Harway, you know what? Should go to the Juvenile Hurdle of Feria. It's great too. Proper horse.
Josh and Andrew, actually, this goes to everybody. Smiler Park says, which bar are you going to be on Tuesday morning for those who want to join for a drink? Is it going to be the Arkle or somewhere else?
We'll be in the Arkle bar before racing.
Very good.
Always.
Good. Yeah. It's got a place in racing folklore.
Sorry, it's the Arkle bar for us that want to go to the Arkle bar. Josh probably be there having a prawn sandwich at some stage. But invite them. But you know, the regular folk among us will be in the Arkle bar.
And Jake, I don't know why you're laughing because you're getting just as bad, mate. So you can pipe down as well. I can see you glass of champagne at hand in 10:30.
Hey, that's later in the day.
Do they have them?
Okay.
Do they have a Moe bar? Where are you tomorrow? Taunton.
Good question. My first time there. I'll have to ask around. I'm sure I'll find one.
I don't think they have a Moe bar.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a Carling bar.
On to the Ultima. Andrew, are we finally going to get an Irish winner of the race?
No, Tom, we won't. I think as ordinary a kind of an idea as it is, I just can't see by Jaguar in this. I know I was highly disappointed that he didn't win on trials day because I thought he would win. That being said, I think you can look at that back and go, him only getting £3, Drunica getting £4 was probably generous enough handicapping considering how far they came clear third. It's the type of race that will just suit him. I have a bit of a feeling that they're running a Rocco, so therefore he doesn't carry kind of, I know he's only getting £4 or £5, but he's not off as top of weight. And the one horse that I cannot get around, and it's just kind of one of these Ben Pauling trying to convince us otherwise, is Handstands. I just cannot see the case one bit about him, considering how he's ran this year. And as I say, I think Jaguar, as much as it's uninspired, he's favourite for the Ultima. I genuinely can't see him.
Okay, no, fair enough. We got a couple of shouts on the comments actually for Confusion having a good each way chance. A couple of people have said that. Dan, I'll come to you because I know you've got a fancy in the race. First of all, on Confusion, I've got a sound each way chance in your book, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think I'll let Jake touch on him a little bit later because I think obviously for those who are following the series, obviously he put him up. You and me are alarmingly on the same boat with leave of absence.
It's scary,
which
scary
fills my heart with dread. Yeah, oh no, I've already ripped up the slip, to be quite honest. It's a weird one though, because I think you can make very good cases about the top 5 in the betting about why you wouldn't back them. Like Jaguar would not have your typical Ultima profile. Stepping up in trip first time is generally a big no-no. How on earth Greeno and Guerrero have ended up in a situation where their 2 stable stars are in the same race against each other is truly baffling. I mean, that shows you the power of JP, because that can't have been the plan. Handstands is a Gold Cup horse, apparently. No, he isn't. Town, I guess the alarming thing, if you against him, is that Lucinda Russell actually having winners recently. And if he can just put his jumping together, maybe. But I think Quebecois, I just think, is a non-stayer. I think leave of absence ticks a lot of boxes you traditionally look for in an Ultima winner. Obviously, won over course and distance earlier in the season. Yes, it was a bit of a strange race. A lot of fences doled off. But I think that inconvenienced him most. And what I really liked was his attitude, because he had several challenges that day. He was in front a long way out and just kept finding up the hill. He should have won at Ascot a couple of starts ago. He got into a prolonged battle down the back. He ended up prevailing in that battle, idled a little bit, got into the bottom of 2 out, surrendered the rail for some reason, and then just got chin laid on. But that was his first run in the decent handicap, acquitted himself well, and then ran a pretty good race in the Denman on ground he would have hated. Arguably arriving on the back of 2 career bests. The ground is drying out in his favour. He'll probably be quite prominently raced, which I always quite like in these big field handicaps. And look, he's still around that, 20-1 mark. I think that's still a very fair price for a horse who I think has a race like this in him off this kind of mark.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a very fair price about a horse as well. I don't need to go into any kind of argument because, Dan, you've just done it for me. So thanks very much. I'm with you all the way. And do you know what? If he wins, I hopefully get the same kind of scenes that we saw with Chianti Classico when he won. And, it'll just make the day fantastic.
My back still hurts from lifting Jake off the ground, mate. I think if I lift you, I think that's permanent disability call.
Well, you wouldn't be honest.
Whoa.
I think I'd be in big trouble. My chiropractor already takes enough money off me. I can't give him any more.
But to be fair, if you were watching the race alongside Tom, Dan, you'd be getting a fence-by-fence analysis, by the way. After 2 fences, we're going well here. After 4 fences, we're going well here. After 10 fences, they'll think we're in trouble here.
Hopefully,
that would be about accurate. So, as I've said to you previous, Bull, you and me, other sides of the entire vicinity for that race only, please. And we meet back at the winner's enclosure, maybe.
The worst thing is that I think now, given how long we do in the jump show now, and given the sort of nature of our friendship and of working together, Dan, I feel like if leave of absence doesn't win, I'm going to get the blame.
How did you know? This great gives me a perfect excuse.
Yeah. Go on, Josh. You can about to speak. Go on.
I was just going to ask Dan if he's worried about how much of a hard race he'd have had at Newbury. It was tough ground that day.
It was tough ground. Yeah, I don't think he was given a hard time, really. I think he was always in single file stuff, really, wasn't it? It was 80 kilos, long press tracking. He was always in third. He kind of came into the straight like he'd make a bit of a challenge. I mean, he got into the bottom of 3 out and wasn't really messed around all that much. So I don't think if it was like a big field handicap where he was gun for his life, yeah, I'd be concerned. But I don't think he had the hardest of races. And he's still so lightly raced for his age.
Okay, Dan TR1 says, yeah, I like leave of absence as well. Good to hear that. Cole Rice says he likes Blaze the Way. Viper the same, actually. Josh, who do you fancy in the race?
I'll be completely with Andrew here. I thought Jaguar was obvious. He's not a big price to do it, but I really fancy him for this. I think a step up to in trip will help him, and I think Iroko being in the race is only going to help him as well with the race weight he's going to run off. Can't have handstands, can't have Muir Town. I think it's going to be interesting. I do think Harry Cobden could ride Jaguar. So it'd be a bit of an interesting situation with the Paul Nicholls horse, because obviously Harry's job doesn't come into effect until May. I'd be fascinated to see what Paul thinks if he rides Jaguar instead of Quebecois, who he's supposed to be riding, I feel.
You got some breaking news, Josh?
Sorry?
Breaking news is Harry Cobden's dropped up on Quebecois. So the rumours are incorrect, unfortunately, on this occasion.
For now.
That is interesting. From a point of view, I believe Harry Cobden's a better jockey than John Joe Neal Jr., but John Joe knows him much better. So there's a part of me that's a bit kind of, I'd be slightly happier that John Joe's on it, maybe just because he knows him a little bit more. I thought Jaguar was really solid. And then the one that I'd back each way at 14-1, I think, is Highland. I've got a bit of a love affinity for him, I must admit, but he has got good form, twice a winner over course and distance, likes quicker ground, second to the jukebox in the Corso Star. I thought his run last time out at Ascot was really encouraging, and he's dropped to a mark of 143. He's also going to wear cheek pieces, I think, which is going to be interesting. That might light him up a little bit more. So I think Highland, in a race that Nicky Henderson has won in the last 10 years, I thought 14-1 was a decent price. I think a 143 definitely underestimates his ability.
Yeah, we had a chat, didn't we, Josh, last night to Nick de Boinville. He was saying he is, so ground dependent. Like he needs the ground to be seen at his best, and he might well get it.
Yeah, I think he probably will. And I do think cheap pieces could bring out more as well.
Good stuff. And Jake, what about you for the race?
Yeah, I'll back up Highland. He's kind of one I've come around to. I'll talk about confusion in a second, but like Josh just mentioned, Highland worked in cheap pieces today, so that is a massive bonus for him because first time headgear.
Where are you getting this from?
In the Ultima. Oh, I've got my sources down. Don't you worry.
What's going on? Is Nicky just messaging you in the mornings? Like, what's happening here?
I've got my ear to the ground. Yeah, so he worked in first-time cheap pieces, so it seems like first-time cheap piece is going to go on for the Ultima. That is obviously a massive trend tick for him. The ground has come his way. He loves Cheltenham. I thought that the Ascot race, if he jumped better, he probably could have won that because he really stayed on strongly. It's just he kept on just putting in poor leaps, which lost him ground. So hopefully those cheap pieces will help sharpen him up. And if they do, then I think he's got a good chance. Then obviously Confusion is the other one that a lot of people in the chat have mentioned. I think he's just got solid claims. The only problem with him is obviously we don't know if he handles Cheltenham or not. And that is something we're not going to know until Tuesday afternoon. So nothing you can do about it. He's a decent price. I want to take on the top end of the market, like Dan mentioned. Don't really fancy too many of them. I think I can see the case for Jaguar, but obviously stepping up in trip for the first time, you don't know what you're going to get. So yeah, that'll be the two for me. Confusion and Highland is now being added to the list.
Jake, just on you being ahead of the curve, and which you are. I mean, during Cheltenham Festival, there's no better man to go to. I couldn't believe it yesterday. I finally got the march on you. I got the jump on you, and I texted the group saying Galopin des Champs is out of the World Cup, and Jake replied with question marks. He didn't. I
was cooking dinner.
It wasn't on the ground then, was it?
Sleeping at the wheel.
Oh, I love it. Okay. That's the ultimate done. We're on to the plate next, and I think we'll go to Josh. For you first, have you got a particular fancy in the race?
Not particularly. I thought McLaurie was the most interesting one. He reminds me a bit of the Shunter. He was massively disappointing in the county hurdle last year, but the 4 chase starts have been so eye-catching this season. I think he's going to get in. A mark of 133, I think, underestimates him. And he was just one horse going into the festival, Tom, which I thought wherever he went, you'd have to have a lot of respect for. Dan seemingly thinks Madara can't get beat, but I'm more than happy to take him on with McLaury.
Yeah, well, that does bring us on nicely to Dan, because Madara has been one of your massive anti-post selections for a good few weeks now, months.
Yeah, it was a fun watch at Kempton, watching him do what he did, and then all of a sudden, obviously, the momentum has very much got behind him. Look, it is my best bet going into the festival by a mile in terms of price. I was very happy when the confirmations came through and the race cut up as it did. Obviously, I think 4 of the top 7 in the betting didn't get confirmed, which was massive, and it looks a really winnable race. I am very afraid of McLaury because he has just been clearly aimed at a big handicap all season. He clearly wants this trip. I guess my only thing with him is maybe he wants slightly softer ground. We're working on limited evidence there potentially. But I will absolutely be covering off McLaury on the day to save my blushes. But if Madara isn't in the first 4, it'd be a miracle. He's got everything in his favour. He's been the target for probably well over a year now. I imagine the cheap pieces will go back on. And you are looking down the list, and it's not an inspiring bunch, I don't think, in terms of ones you'd look at a big price. I think this race is going to continue to cut up, with even those who are confirmed have other options. So, yeah, I think at the minute, I know it's 4 to 1 apiece. I don't think you can go too far wrong backing them both at their current prices.
I sort of tend to agree. I think it does look between the two of them at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. They do look to have extremely good chances, both of them. Jake, what do you think about the race?
Yeah, I can completely see the case for Madara. I confess I backed him when Dan put him up, so I'm happy with that. Not rushing to get involved at this current price, to be honest, as much as it is a weak race. I thought I'd bring up a couple of horses that, well, at least one horse here that is kind of not been talking about at all, and that's Down Memory Lane. Now, he's not exactly screamingly well handicapped, but he absolutely bolted up when he was last seen. And he seems to be a horse who's really kept well fresh. He seems to always run well fresh, and that's what they seemingly are doing with him lately. I don't know if the plan has been to come to the plate. That I have not seen a single quote about him in any stable tour, in any Cheltenham preview. It's been complete radio silence on him, which is probably bodes well in the JP McManus Silks, to be honest, considering the amount of noise there is about McLaury. But yeah, I just thought at 14 to 1 he was very interesting because he was actually really well fancied for the Galway Plate in the summer as well, and he ran like stink that day. Ended up having mucus in the system, that old chestnut that we love to hear on the Jump Show. So that you can kind of excuse that. But as I said, when he came back to Navan in a listed race in December, he absolutely bolted up on the bridle. So potentially a claimer could be on. I'm not sure. We haven't got bookings yet, obviously, for who would be on him. But the fact they've left him in the race, the fact it's a really weak race, the fact he kind of handles any ground. Obviously, they were happy to let him take his chance at Galway, and obviously it didn't pan out. But the ground wasn't a concern for them. He was a very smart novice. Well, maybe not very smart, but he was a smart enough novice last season. He's only a second season chaser. I think he's got plenty of upside, and he's kind of just one that, as I said, that I've heard nothing about, and it wouldn't surprise me if they purposely left him off for this.
You've got a couple of shouts for Booster Bob each way in the comments, and a couple for Zurich as well, and for Guard Your Dreams, and each way squeaking this from Mersey Magic too. Andrew, are you a fan of McLaury?
I am, yeah. I'd say I'd make the case exactly opposite to Dan in terms of I'm a big fan of McLaury, and I'd be incredibly scared of Madara. I was right beside Dan at the Dublin Racing Festival when Madara ran at Kempton, and Dan immediately went off and got me a pint of Guinness after it. So he was clearly very happy with what had happened in front of him, and I could understand why, because it was a very eye-catching run. I actually happened to be working on as a pundit for the Down Royal card that McLaury was running in when he ran in the rated novice chase, and it was one of those where he opened up, I think, 2 to 1. I think he was around 16 to 1 on the exchanges when he went off at the off, and it was one of those where you're there going, well, this horse isn't trying to jot, and unfortunately. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, he probably wasn't, and he ran an eye-catching race, to say the least. It's just one of those where you're there thinking, I quite like the angle of a novice in the plate. I think he's got a little bit more of an unexposed profile to Madara, but at the same time, you're there turning up at Cheltenham going, he's only had 4 runs over fences. You know, he could go and belt the first couple of fences and be on the back foot, but I do think he's got perhaps a slightly more unexposed profile, but I would be very fearful of Madara, and I'm sure I'll be covering him off myself.
I think it's also important to say as well, with the handicap chases at the Cheltenham Festival, it kind of pays to be at the top of the market. Looking at this race alone, 5 of the last 8 winners went off 5 to 1 or shorter. 4 of them were favourites. So those that really short, people in the comments might be saying, you know, you're just picking those at the top of the market, but that does pay. And historically, you know, you've made money doing that. So I think picking McLaurie and Madara, I don't think that's bad at all.
And this race just shapes exactly like last year, where we had Jaguar and the company sergeant, and it was basically the exact same situation. Maybe roles reversed in terms of Irish and English profiles going into it. It's just, what else are you looking at that really inspires you? Like there isn't all that much. So I think the market's got it bang on.
The cheek pieces are back on Madara as well, just to confirm that.
It's all coming together.
Anthony Phillips, which we'll get to later, I'm sure Andrew's going to love this, says Sandor Clegane is a cracking each way bet in the Kid Muir. So it comes out a little bit later.
You need blinkers. Stop talking about different days. We're on the Tuesday.
Right, on to the 520. It's the National Hunt Challenge Cup Novices Handicap Chase, 0 to 145 over 3 miles and 6 furlongs. Back me a sack me Newton Tornado, weighed out, 1 big ban, etc. Jake, go to you first for this race.
Yeah, more rumours here, but the Paul Townend was booked for Newton Tornado. That was not the case. He was asked, but he said no, because obviously he doesn't ride in these type of races. And Sean Flanagan's on board, which I'm very happy with. I put him up in the series at, I think, 7 to 1 just to get him in the team. It's around 6 to 1. I think he could shorten further. Really like his chance with Rebecca Curtis. As I said, I think I've said this before on the Jump Show. I don't think he's as good as Hated Galore. Let's not get it wrong. But I think he's a very, very similar profiled horse in the fact that he was a slow burner over hurdles, kind of just biding his time, really, went over fences. And we'll go back to that day in October where Josh was just loving how well he was jumping out in front, told us all, and then he fell at the third last. So he handles the Cheltenham fences absolutely no problem. He'll love the old course. The ground seemingly isn't an issue, despite him winning on soft since. I think that he's going to improve for going up to this marathon trip. I don't know if there's too many horses in here that you could definitely say will improve for the marathon trip, but I think he's one of them. And his mark of 133, I think, is very fair, considering he put in a time the last day quicker than the Great Yorkshire Chase on the same card. So obviously 2 different races, but they were back to back. So the ground should have been the exact same, really. So yeah, Newton Tornado for me, Sean Flanagan, I think is a good booking, and hopefully he's got a great chance.
Yeah, a couple of comments from Newton Tornado there, and Ashley Simmons, don't know if it's the same one, says, "Can we all just say Guard the Moon wins the National Hunt Chase and move on?" So there you go. I'm not sure we're all going to say that, but
Jesus Christ,
that's what Ashley Simmons says. Andrew, come to you. Who do you fancy in the race?
Well, no, see, this is one of those, Tom, where I'll be on a stream like this or a video like this, and I'll make a case for Iceberg Theory, and everyone will go, Paul Nolan fanboy, what a load of bollocks, all of this sort of stuff. And then Dan will say the exact same case that I'll make, and everyone's going, that's a shrewd case, Dan. You know, I think that's their point. And you're there going, like, there's no point. You may as well ask Dan what the case is for Iceberg Theory, considering that if you want to punch the numbers into our text messages, I put Dan on the horse back in January time. But that won't get, when we look back at the history books, that will never be remembered.
Poor Dan.
Well, it won't be remembered because he'll finish 5th and it won't matter. Yeah. So he'll be completely inconsequential. And no, that is perfectly valid. I mean, I think at the time that race had no real structure to it. I mean, weight out was always been aimed at here, but I mean, none of us, I mean, someone might prove me wrong, but I don't think any of us can have him in a fit realistically. He's the most mulish horse in training, arguably, at the minute, and almost out of nowhere, because I actually quite liked him as a hurdler. So I think with Iceberg Theory, he'd been overlooked for a long time because we saw the likes of Back Me or Sack Me, Newton Tornado gain a bit of prominence in the betting, but he's got a very solid body of form when he clearly just wants a massively staying trip. The ground's coming right for him. The form of his 2 wins over fences have worked out very well. Rather, I guess, surprisingly, the fact he was able to win over 2 mile 5 last time out on handicap debut. Yes, it was off a lowly mark, but it didn't look likely for a while. I think it was testament to his general ability that he was able to do so. It's just a race I think is very much made for him, and I think people may still be looking at the absence as a concern, but we know it's been the plan for some time, and they didn't want to give him an unduly hard race on softer, heavy ground ahead of time. So they've come here fresh, and he's already shown he's quite capable fresh. So don't think that would be any concern at all. The other one I do want on side now, because it looks like he's going to come here, is Brave Fortune, who I would have liked for the Kim Muir over Kim Rock for Joseph, because I really can't see Kim Rock staying personally. But Brave Fortune, just look at the form of the Tipperary beginners in May. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. Western Fold beats Oscar's Brother, beats Brave Fortune, beats Rushmount, beats Blaze the Way, Back Me or Sack Me back in 7th. Quite remarkable, really. Now, obviously, he was with Pat Doyle at the time. He went on to win over 3 mile 1 next time out. He's only had 2 starts for Joseph O'Brien, both over an intermediate trip, 1 on soft ground. Next time out again, 2 mile 5, just wasn't far enough for him. He's an out-and-out stayer who needs decent ground. The ground's coming right for him. He's been one I've had on my radar for a big race at the festival for a while. I thought it might be the Kim Muir, but if he comes here, I'm definitely going to have him on side as well.
Okay, excellent stuff. The entire time you were talking about Iceberg Theory, there was a little smirk on Andrew's face, which I was quite enjoying. I don't know why. Josh, who do you like?
Anyone got a price on Paul Nolan, top trainer at the festival?
6 to 4.
We can request one.
I hope we can boost that at the end of it. I really fancy Back Me or Sack Me. Not particularly original, but I've liked him for a long time. I think he's a thorough stayer. I couldn't have weighed out at all. I love Ollie Murphy, but I just feel like he's going to be 20, 25 lengths off the leaders coming down the hill, and he'll be staying the best of them all. But if he's within touching distance, I'd love Ollie to have a winner. I just can't see it personally. Respect Newton Tornado. Not exactly sure he wants this extreme trip personally. Whether Back Me or Sack Me, I do feel just shapes like a really slow horse, even though he was able to win last time out at Leopardstown. And I just think that looking at jockey bookings, Sean Bowen's going to ride Wade out. He's been on in 2 of the 4 runs this season, Back Me or Sack Me, 5 runs. I wonder if Paul Townend rides him. Donna Myler hasn't rode him this season. Paul Townend's ridden winners in those silks before. Is there a chance?
I don't think Willie would be too happy about that, but would you?
Yeah,
wouldn't be very them.
It could happen, but I'd probably say Donna.
Very, very controversially, I would say that you would want Donna Myler on him instead of Townend in this type of race.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was an interesting one because we don't necessarily know if Paul's going to ride in it, or he might just take that race off. I go back
It'd
to
be damning for Newton Tornado if he did ride your one.
It would. You go back to Navan over hurdles when Iceberg Theory stepped up to 3 miles and 1 furlongs, and 10 lengths in front of him was Back Me or Sack Me. So I'm more than happy enough that he'll confirm that form in the National Hunt Chase.
Well, it's really good, Tom, to be honest, that we've brought Josh on and he's put up Manlaga, second fav, Jaguar fav, Back Me or Sack Me fav.
And Highland and Manlaga's third favourite.
Well, no. See, I was about to butt in about Highland because the only reason that Josh loves Highland is that there was a moment where me and Josh did something in the parade ring for the October meeting, and we had a few lads there that had won a competition, and he put them on Highland, and these lads worshipped Josh as if he was the king because he'd won a novice chase beating, it was some McConnell thing, Moon d'Orange.
You'd have been on that then.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you're in separate rooms, to be honest.
The last thing I'll say about this race, though, the National Hunt Chase, is Wade Out is ridden by Sean Bowen. Newton Tornado, we've got Sean Flanagan, and then Iceberg Theory, Sean O'Keefe. If you're shouting "Come on, Sean" at the end, I think you might be able to get a win here.
I would say that Stone Wall should be on Iceberg Theory.
Oh, really?
You think?
Ruining it.
Yeah,
I guess you're running a lot. Yeah,
I'd say they'll be loyal to him. Which, to be honest, I would prefer Sean O'Keefe on him, but that's.
I mean,
cool.
Sorry, just one question before we move on. I know we've taken an awful lot of time on the National Chase, but from all the previews I've heard from Jake, he keeps on going on about Newton Tornado and how good a jumper he is, and yet he has fallen, he has pulled up because he nearly fell. Like in 2 of 4 starts. Like I'm sorry, but you can't be that good a jumper. It's like Mona Lee when he was a novice chaser, where you go 1-1 F, 1-1 F. It can't be a positive.
Wait, let me just find the jumps IQ data, and we'll have a look.
No, move on, move on.
Do you know what, Andrew? I'm hoping we get a well done Sean at the end of that race.
Well, exactly. Well done, Sean.
That would be lovely.
That would be great. Ben Parsons, good luck to you, Ben, because you've got a share in King of Answers. You just said that in the comments, so best of luck with that. I've put up one big bang in my portfolio, anti-post, so fingers crossed for a good run from him. I think we'll stay there.
Who?
Just looking at Andrew's face. Incredulity all over his face.
You can't drop it in, Tom, without making a case.
No, no, I know. My case is that I think he'll improve a lot for the step up and trip. He's got a really strong staying pedigree. His dam is a half sister to the very smart staying chaser Madison de Burle, so I think the extra trip will really help. I think it was too short last time, and there's been no sort of secret made of the fact that as soon as he was going to go offensive, he was going to get better. I loved his run behind Wade Out, the first start of offenses he made. It was a really good performance, I thought. I think he just got tired. He needed the run, but he looked the winner for most of the journey, and then just Wade Out. Why are you laughing so much? He's literally sitting there. You're a clown. You are a clown.
You make me laugh, Bullet.
What I like is the viewers this evening are going to be treated to some boosts and picked by us, our strongest fancies. And when we spoke to priced up bets, they were more than happy to give 50 to 1. One big ban once they said that Bully fancies it.
Actually, just on that, I should probably say what the boost is. Because there is a boost.
Well, there he's back.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
In the room.
14 to 1, one big bang. They're on the screen now. 14 to 1, one big bang. Iceberg Theory the same, and then Saratoga is boosted as well. And the Fred wins to 13 to 2. So those are the 3 boosts for priced up on the opening day. Need to get a best bet for day 1 from everybody. Jake, come to you first for that.
Well, Lossie Mouth has made it to Cheltenham, and she is my nut in the champion hurdle. Come on, the Lossie.
Come on, the Lossie. Dan?
Loyalty has to be Madara.
Okay. Josh?
Lossie Mouth wins the champion hurdle.
Love it. 2 for Lossie. And Andrew?
Iceberg Theory, National and Chase.
Cool. I'll go Lulamba in the Arkle. Excellent. That is day 1 dusted and done. So we're going to go on to Wednesday.
That common phrase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't know I'd do this for a job. On to Wednesday we go, and we're going to concentrate on the what is now called the BetMGM Cup handicap hurdle. First of all, comes up at 240, and as you'd expect, very competitive. Josh, come to you first for this one.
Yeah, I like 2. I like Katira, and I like Kopek Demi. I like Kopek Demi's profile. I think a mark of 145 is still workable. Obviously, it's extremely high in comparison to what he ran off in the Coral Cup last year. Of £9 higher, but it was much more like it at Aintree. We've only seen the once this season. I think it was the same as Jimmy DeSoy last year, so don't mind that at all. I think money will come for him, and I quite like Kopek Demi. But Katira, I must admit, Bully, she's my biggest winner of the week. Back to her at a bigger price. I hope that she is the one horse that wins. She has a very interesting profile. Dan Skelton has clearly been working back from the BetMGM Cup. And I hope that she goes and wins. Although, I to be honest with you, I'd probably be leaning the way of Kopek Demi. Okay, yeah, I know. Honestly, Josh, best of luck with Katira, because that is a brilliant price you have on her. So, yeah, wish you the best for that one. Any chance we could get Ben Knight barred, Jake, from this stream, who says, I've made the preview. There should be a Stewart's inquiry. Not a fan of that one, Ben.
We'll get the moderators on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake, and he says no.
Is it time for a toilet break yet?
Oh no, we're going strong.
Yeah,
don't you worry,
right.
son.
Ladder's not cool yet. Thanks, Ben. Says love you, really. Love you too, Ben.
No.
Andrew, You. I don't know why you're making me laugh so much tonight, but you are. Who do you fancy, Andrew?
No, I actually really quite fancy Kopeck to me myself. He'd be right at the top of the list for me. I know he ran poor in the Martin Pipe last year, but he kind of went down to the first. He made an awful hash of it, and then kind of got slightly hampered, made another mistake at the second. His race was finished. He was 5-2 favourite that day. He went very close at Aintree, where he probably should have won. He was given a conservative ride and was unlucky not to beat Wellington Arch. Disappointed in his one race over fences this year. Does come here with a little bit of a point to prove, £9 higher as well. From where he was this time last year when running at Cheltenham. So that does have to come into consideration. There's a fair few in this that don't really inspire me, to be honest. Obviously, Josh and I are incredibly lucky to be sponsored by Ladbrokes. Unfortunately, Josh has taken that very literally, that he has to put up every Dan Skelton horse that's running this year. That is Ladisfaction, as they would call it.
Sorry. Can we just stop a minute? I've just gone against Madara, and you put up a Paul Nolan horse in the National Hunt Chase. You're saying I'm backing everything of Dan Skelton's.
Yeah, well, I fancy God forbid when we get to Thursday, where he's making this case for Supremely West. Supremely West would win the Stayers Hurdle based on Josh's opinion on Thursday, but these things will be left. I really fancy Kopeck to me. I think Mark Walsh should be on. I think it's the right type of connections you want for the race. And as much as obviously you've got that little bit of a lingering feeling of that he ran poor at the Martin Pipe last year, I do think there was reasons for that. And I think he'll be a stronger horse this year, and he'll be a better horse this year.
Okay. We had a comment here. Does the yellow clay run in this chat? Don't actually know what that means, really, but the yellow clay.
All right. Let me the old fella at the top. Let me translate this for you, Bully. He's asking the chat if yellow clay runs.
Right.
Bully, I think there's a future in you as a Twitch streamer. Genuinely, can you please?
That is so genuinely embarrassing, isn't it? Jordan said the yellow boat. Do you know what? I remember I couldn't, after last year when he was second to the New Lion, you wouldn't have put money on this year turning up in the Coral Cup, would you? I mean, he's off 155, but you'd have hoped, I think, last year he was going to make him to a graded performer. It hasn't really happened for him. Dan, who do you fancy in the BetMGM?
Well, number one's Ginkgo Blue, who's been a bit of a long-term fancy of mine. Obviously, put up on the series at a bit of a bigger price, but it's always a competitive race. It's not like it's been a drastic shortener. I just think he has a very Nicky Henderson-style profile for the race, in that he's a high-class hurdler, a horse with a lot of ability who's still very lightly raced. And you look at Nicky Henderson's winners of this in the past, generally somewhat in the 140s, clearly have a fair bit of ability and also have a decent course form to their name. Obviously, his second in the Rail Kill will be tested this week behind Cabral de Matan, ahead of Lucky Place and Gal Road, who were the 1-2 in that race the year before. And he had back surgery in the summer after we went chasing. He got to a mark 151 there. I think it's been a case of just building him back slowly. They tried 3 miles in the big 3 mile race at Haydock. He ran fine for a while, but it was a big ask under a big weight first time out. Clearly just been building back. I think he just ticks a lot of boxes as a typical winner. And I will be covering Iberico Lord as well, because I've seen the script before with Nicky Henderson JP horses in this race that just invariably run very well. Now, we had Impostoir, obviously a really good second last year. Obviously won it with Dame de Compagnie a few years ago. From everything, all the interviews I can see, I don't think there's really much to separate them. They both have their pros and cons. I imagine maybe James Bowen or Rajinko Blue and Nico will be on Iberico Lord. I'm not 100% sure. But I think both of those have very typical Nicky Henderson profiles, and happy to have them both on side.
Okay, good luck down with Jinko. And hopefully good one from both. Jake, lastly on this BetMGM, who have you got on side?
I'll be having Ginkgo Blue on side. I think he's got the classy angle. If you look back at the Coral Cup winners, I don't think any of them were screamingly well handicapped. I mean, obviously Languedown was just a bit of a plot both years, wasn't he? But you got the likes of a Commander of Fleet in there, a Blueberry, a William Henry, Super Sunday, Diamond King. Like, none of them were really that well handicapped. They were just classy horses on the day, and I think that's kind of what I like in this type of race. So Ginkgo Blue will be on side. The other one I'm going to have on side is the talking horse in the chat, seemingly. Apparently he's a boat, but he doesn't stay 3 miles. Apparently he's dross as well. But
It's a lot of good signs.
The yellow clay, like, he's just got he's got to be better than what he's shown this season based on that run in the Turners last year. It was an unbelievable effort to get that close to the New Lion. I think why I didn't put him up on the series is because I wanted to see if we're going to get to proper spring ground. It looks like we are going to get that proper spring ground, which is going to help him. I would say that, you know, he's had 2 runs this season. The first one, I think they just went too quick on ground that was way too soft, and they just got it wrong. And he paid the price for it. Over Christmas, I just don't think he stayed 3 miles. I mean, he might not have been right either way, but I don't think he stayed 3 miles. I don't think it was him. Happy to put a line through that bad run, and off a mark of 155. To be fair, I will preface this: I need a claim run to back him. I think Josh Williamson probably will take the ride, taking off 5, maybe Michael Keneally, someone like that. But if you take £5 off of him, off of 150, what price? What mark did Jimmy Zassoy win off last year? He won off 146. So he's off 150. It's not too far away. Like he showed a lot of class in the Ballymore Turners, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, he'd be one that I'd definitely have on side, and then Duke of Blue, as I said, would be the other. Well,
Commander of Fleet won off 152.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I think the elephant in the room here, though, is that I understand that
he nearly died at Punchestown.
He was on the deck for 20 minutes of Punchestown, and he's turned up two times this year and has ran stink. And I'm there going, like, you know, you'd want. So I can understand kind of class angle in the Coral Cup. It has been done before, but you'd want to have seen a hint more promise than what he's shown. Because what he's shown to me is a horse that is feeling a lot of effects of a horrendous fall, and then got a stinkingly hard run first time out for no reason.
That's the thing. I don't think we should have seen him against him because he needed the break to come here fresh. Let's be honest. Like as you said, he had a hard race. Didn't really stay 3 miles, / whatever was wrong at Christmas. It's just the fact that spring ground should hopefully help him. This is the one chance I'll give him. If he is gone after this, then that's fine. I can happily let him go. But I think at the price as he is, if he's got a £5 claimer on, I can just see him running very well.
Okay, great. Should we move on to the cross country, which is the next on the agenda, the 320? Do you know what, actually, before we start talking about this race, all I'm going to have to say on this matter of the cross country is that having watched the race last year when I really fancied Vanillier, and then Sean Flanagan went the wrong way, and then he stayed on really strongly for third, I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy the race a bit more this year. And actually, I'll be supporting Vanillier again, even though he's another year older, but hopefully a year wiser, the 11-year-old. Go on, Vanillier. Right. Jake,
can we just stop? The case made there was I'm on his side because he went the wrong way last year. just so we're on.
And also half the case was that the horse is a year wiser. I'm afraid the horse had very little to do with the fact that he went the wrong way.
Do you know, it was painful viewing, wasn't it? It really was.
It's a sea of blue across the grid now for him after that.
You know, I honestly, I did think to myself, you know, if the one thing you have to do before the cross country is learn the route. I mean, surely that's the one thing in that race that you actually have to do. And then he went like 2 fences and went the wrong way. I honestly couldn't believe it. It boggles the mind.
I didn't realise how badly this affected you.
Yeah, well,
it was a year ago.
It lingers long. Jake, cross country, anything?
Yeah, I agree with Stacey here. Favre de Champtou, he's the one for me. Obviously, he's been absolutely smashed off the boards. He's now favourite. Stumptown has drifted out, but getting that £5, I think is going to be massive. I don't think he cares what the ground does. If it dries out, he's fine. If it gets softer again, he's absolutely fine. I think he's got a lot in his favour. He absolutely bolted up on Trials Day, and that would be the one for me, to be honest. Yeah, as simple as that, really. Jack Kennedy as well got a very, very good record around the cross-country course, so that is no mean feat either. That gives him every chance. Okay.
Dan, what about you?
I just want to touch on Ben Knight's comment about 40 coats in the BetMGM Cup just quickly. People will look back at that and think he's well handicapped. This horse wouldn't win a maiden hurdle. Like, he is so frustrating. Like, he could actually end up finishing 4th or 5th in a big handicap like this, but he'll never win one. He's just the most frustrating animal. But on the cross country, I'd be with Jake. Favre de Champdou, I think he's going to be hard to beat. I see a lot of people on about Desert Moor House. For me, I like having the Cheltenham course experience rather than just Punchestown. Obviously, I know Punchestown arguably a harder track to go around, but I think knowing the track is just massive. And I think ultimately that's what Favre de Champdou has proven. I prefer his preparation to Stumptown. I think this is a harder race for Stumptown than last year, and he made hard work of it then. Obviously up in the weights now, having to give way away to a horse who, despite being 11th in the form of his life, I think he'll just take all the beating here for Favre de Champdou.
Okay, strong words for Favori. Stace, what about you?
Yeah, Dan says knowing the track definitely helps. Didn't help Vanilla last year. He went the wrong way, but he's a year wiser, which is good. I fancy Favre de Champdou. I think he just wins.
Or Favre de Shampoo, as Gordon calls it. That's quite good. I like definitely the right way to say that. Andrew, are you going to make it a full house for Favre de Champdou?
Yeah, I am. I think he's the most likely winner of the race. However, the only thing I would say is if you're being coy about it and you have backed Favre de Champdou, you're getting to a stage with Stumptown where it's a criminally odd price to not cover off. Like he's 7-2 in a place, and you're there going, oh, I cannot see a world where one of the two of them doesn't run. And I think if you've hoovered up 7-2, 4-1 on Favre de Champdou the last couple of weeks, and he's now into 11-4, 5-2, I'd have both on side, because I just, people will try to complicate this race. One of the two will win, and I just think that there's a world where Stumptown at 7-2 actually is becoming a criminally bad, like bad price in terms of it's a good price to be backing at. And that would just be the one thing in the back of my mind. I do think Favre de Champdou will win, but I would have him on side at that type of price as well, just to cover all.
Okay, yeah. And Cy Tyson says, yeah, that's fair, Andrew. So you've got a support of that.
My burner's there working overtime.
And even your burner could only say it's not good, it's just fair. It's modest enough
appraisal. I didn't want to make it too obvious, to be fair.
No, good man.
Is it your dad? Is he there watching?
SB Tyson.
After Tyson Fury, the horse that's now with Dan Skelton.
We're going to swiftly move on to the Grand Annual, which is the last handicap on day 2. And I'll kick things off very quickly in the fact that I hope that no questions asked runs a good race, because for those people who have followed the Jump Show all season, I'm really grateful that you have, if you're watching. When we put up the novice to follow at the start of the season, he was mine. He's not done too badly so far, so hopefully he can run a good race. I'd be confident.
Is he going to run?
No, run
with Van der Poel running.
Well, I mean, it would be the best route to take him. He wouldn't go up and trip, in my view. But
I think he's in the article, Tom. Yeah.
Anyway, right, wherever he goes up.
Do you reckon Snipe has a chance, Tom?
He's bounced back to form last time.
He won over 2 miles the other day. No,
Do you know what? They've been running up the wrong trip all his life.
Well, I think they listened to you and said staying novices, and they went down that route. But he was a 2-miler all the way.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're nearly through day 2, so we're nearly there, mate.
No questions. I go to the Arkle right, says Ash Simmons, but Ash Simmons a moment ago said course of courses wins the cross country. I mean, right. Andrew, Grand Annual.
I have kind of a few on the list here. Josh will take it away with one, which I can completely understand. The other two that are of interest to me are Ballysax Hank and Release the Beast. Release the Beast getting off a low weight, I think, would be intriguing. Ballysax Hank more so the fact that it's his only festival entry, and the quicker the ground, the better for him. So I think he has to be on side, to be honest. But can completely understand the case that Josh is about to make about another horse who, if he was trained by somebody else, I'd be all over.
Go there, Josh.
First of all, in the comments, someone was wondering if the Nolan horse will get in. I'd say everything will get in. I think plenty will come out. I don't think this race has hit its maximum for a couple of years now. So I think you'll get a run. I really fancy. Well, really fancy is probably a strong way to say it because I think it's a good race. But I think Be Aware, like it's a working back from a plan that they thought was going to be grade ones. I don't have him at all. I like Highland's Legacy for John Joe and AJ O'Neill. I think on form, he has a really good chance. He's run 4 times this season. He's won 2 of them. He finished second on 2 occasions. And it's actually those runs where he finished second, which I think are the really interesting ones. He went to Aintree 3 starts ago, bumped into Mambo number 5, who went and won, obviously, the Wayward Lad on his next start. Glenn Gooley was 3rd. He won the December Gold Cup. George Vejon has won 3 times since. He was 5th. And then you go back to Newbury 2 starts ago, where he bumped into Mighty Bandit. He's won twice since. He won that day off 129, and Highland's Legacy was just 2 lengths behind. He's now rated 152. Lookaway was 3rd. He won the Ladbrokes Trophy. So the form is unbelievably good. He's in form because he beat Torneo at Windsor. That's not the best form in the world, but he comes here off a mark of 133. It's going to be relatively low in the handicaps. And I just think he's well handicapped. He's a definite 2-miler. He's a strong traveller. I think 16-1 is more than fair about him. Highland's Legacy.
Okay. Yeah, good case made, Josh. Got a couple of comments there for Jazzy Matty to go in again as well. Of course, so good in the race last year. Poignant victory, wasn't it, that day? Grand Annual Dan, over to you for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few in the comments as well going, just go to damn. I mean, I went for that once in, was it October? I think you guys have been stung before and never ever again. Never again. I was happy. You know, it's a good learning experience. And it kind of went exactly as you prescribed. And God, you could never touch him. In the exact same connections, I'd much prefer down Mexico Way if he was to run here. I thought it was very on Henry de Bromhead-like to run him in the Irish Arkle, just getting that 4th run into him where normally he avoids that. He probably had the easiest race of all 3 because he just completely sat out from that fight from an early stage and just kind of came home in his own time. I think better ground suits him. The only issue is he does have other options potentially. He could go up to the plates, but he'd be one to keep an eye on. But I still really like Break My Soul, who I put in the series as well at quite a big price. She was not confirmed for the Mare's Chase today, so it is very much Arkle or this. And Jake had the pleasure of informing me she was literally the last horse confirmed across all the races when the confirmations were done for Tuesday in the Arkle. I imagine they're just waiting to see how that cuts up. Maybe Romeo going there, they might well take their chance, but I still think they've got no chance of winning it. But I think off a mark 136, a race like the Grand Annual will just really suit her. Like, she is a real strong traveller, and her jumping so far of fences has been really, really good. Obviously, on Chase debut, she won quite nicely. She was then set to pretty tough asks. She wasn't quite right after the run at Christmas. She was given a bit of time, and they ran her at Punchestown last time out just to get her that 4th run to open up those options. Now, she was running off level weights with all of them, all the geldings. She wasn't getting any allowance. Obviously, Pure Steel was the winner, who looks a real smart horse, and he's going to go for the grade 1. I think the Willow Warm next time. Just watch it back, because she's only finished a few lengths ahead of the likes of I Am Lorenzo and co, but she was comfortably the second best in that race. Like, she travelled second best by a mile. She came to actually briefly challenge Pure Steel. She got to within a couple of lengths, and once her chance had gone, she really wasn't given an overly hard time up the run in. 1st run for a little while, 4th run for a handicap. I just think she has the attributes that would really suit a Grand Annual, and Ian Donohue's done a terrific job with her. She's 4 pounds low over the fences, and she is her Irish hurdles mark. So I think she's dangerously well handicapped, and I can see her putting it all together here, and I think she's pretty ground versatile from what we saw in the spring of last year.
Yeah, it's an excellent argument made, got to say. Again, best of luck. And finally, Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, completely see the case for Highland's Legacy based on just pure form lines. He's very well handicapped. Whether he's good enough for a race like this, I guess we'll find out. But at the 16-1 type price he is, I think it's fair, and you can pay to take your chance. Like Dan mentioned, if Down Mexico Way comes here, I'll be on. I think that he was given that 4th run at the DRF1 to be a pipe opener for Cheltenham, but also to open up the handicap options. Maybe they'll go for the plate because they got Jasco Dazan that can come here, but we'll see on that front. But Down Mexico Way would definitely interest me. And then the other one that I would just raise is a 33-1 shot that's that just probably is a bit too big. 6 times Grade 2 winner Rubaud is 33-1, and he was actually a graded novice chaser last season. Coming in here off a mark of 148, Harry Cobden is already booked to ride. I just wouldn't be surprised to see him run really well because he's got his ground now, which we know. He loves decent ground. Whether he's obviously not been over fences this season, he's been over hurdles, but running over hurdles on your last start before the Grand Annual actually has a pretty good record. Don't have the stats quite to hand, but it is pretty good. And yeah, I just thought that he was one that's in a race where I absolutely hate the Grand Annual most of the time. I thought that he would have a big chance. So yeah, Rubaud a big price. I thought that could be one for the each way punters and especially on this ground.
That is a big price, to be honest, about a horse that
I didn't see that one coming. Dearie me. That was
yeah.
I think I would have been like last on the list of the 33-1 shots I would have seen you pick out, but fair play. Interesting.
One of the Let's Talk Racing duo, and I know which one it is, has written Hidden Heroics and the Fox Hunters, ? Which is another one of my few who haven't really gone to plan over the last couple of years, sort of on the snipe list.
We've got another one as well, Andy Dufresne on the comeback.
Yeah, well, returning horses of a great record. I'm sure if he's only sprightly age of 14 now, why not?
Will we see the Midnight Tipster? Now, I think I should probably say, will we see the Midnight Tipper? Because that's what you like to go by, Andrew, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. And I've been working very hard. Obviously, I had an unfortunate few days kind of in Dubai, twiddling thumbs, and I've come up with some absolute pearlers this year, of which I let Dan be privy to one earlier, and he was absolutely salivating at the bit.
Is one of them Iceberg Theory?
For a treat. Not the one I had access to.
I won't reflect on what people will hear at Monday night at midnight.
We've got a couple of priced up boosts for day 2. Highlands Legacy boosted to 18-1 for the Grand Annual, and Jinko Blue in the BetMGM Cup to 16-1. So those are the 2 boosts from priced up. And finally, best bets for day 2. Jake, go for you first.
Yeah, for me it's Ballyfad. Assuming Talk the Talk doesn't run, which I'm hoping he doesn't for you, Bully, because you've got him for the Supreme. If he doesn't run, I think he's just got an unbelievable chance in the Turners. So yeah, 7-1 non-runner bet I think you can get. If Talk to Talk didn't run, that would be such a good bet to me.
I appreciate that, Jake. And I hope Talk the Talk goes to the Supreme as well. Thank you very much. Dan, what about you?
If Talk the Talk does run in the Turners, it would be him. Otherwise, generally, I'd be all over him if he ran in that. And other than that, I'd just say Favori de Champdou as the most likely winner.
Okay, Favori de Champdou for Dan. Josh, what about you?
I think for those wondering, I do think they're leaning the way of the Supreme. I spoke to Daryl Jacob this morning, and he said they're going to make the decision later on today, but they're all in favour of the Supreme, really. So I don't think we're going to see him in the Turners. I think it's hard. Probably Highlands Legacy, although I do think Keep 'Em Company won't be out the 3 in the bumper.
Nice. Okay, interesting. Andrew, what about you?
Yeah, can see it with Favori de Champdou, just to be, so we don't have the same one. I will go the Big Westerner in the Brown Advisory.
That's mine as well. Sorry, Andrew. There we go.
Sorry, can I rescind the Big Westerner?
Yeah, no, you go again. Redo.
Go Favori.
Ray Stevenson says, great that you boys are here rather than in the pub. Appreciate that, Ray. There'll be plenty of time for pub next week. So we're doing the hard yards now. Right, lads, let's move on, shall we, to day 3, Thursday, and to the Jack Richards, which is the first handicap on day 3. And Josh, going to come straight to you for this one, because I know that you've got a fair amount of information, I suppose, about some of these, and you've got a couple of fancies too.
Yeah, I think Cocktail Divan will probably run in the Brown Advisory. I fancy Slade Steele myself. He's been a bit of a bridesmaid over fences so far in his career, but I do think 146 downplays his ability. He's a Supreme winner. He probably wouldn't love the ground to be any quicker than it is, but I just think 8-1 is very, very fair. Regent Stroll, is probably well handicapped. I just don't love him as a horse. I think he's a bit unfurnished and a bit raw. And then so much money has come for Meet Me by the Sea. And you'd have to respect that. But for me, just about Slade Steel. I think 6 Mile Bridge is almost certain to run here as well. So it's going to be a good race. I just don't think we're going to have that Cocktail Divan at the top of the market because I think you're running the round advisory.
Yeah, Viper says day 3 very tough to find winners, in his opinion. Luckily, we have an expert panel here trying to help us out. I'm taking myself out of that equation. Jake, what do you think about the Jack Richards? I'm still hurting from Lovely Hurling not even getting an entry.
Yeah, well, I mean, the style of Cocktail Divan, if he runs, then he's got an unbelievable chance, and I think he'd win. If it's sounding like he's not going to run, then obviously that would be a massive shame. The one thing I would say, if Romeo Coolio going into the Brown Advisory, maybe that will help swing them. Potentially, they're not going to run the Big Westerner if it's soft, if it's not soft ground. It's all up in the air, isn't it? We don't really know what's going on. But as I said, if Cocktail Divan runs, I think he'll win. End of story. If he's not running, let's go and attack the race again. 6 Mile Bridge is probably the one that I probably would land with, just purely based on his class angle. Again, another horse who could have run in the Brown Advisory, only got £1 for winning a Grade 1 the last day. Was it the best Grade 1? Probably not. I mean, he's beaten Carla Conti, who's an admiral mare. She never really looked like she took to the Sandown task that day. Obviously, Kitzbühel coming down is a massive shame for not only the Brown Advisory and knowing where he is at for that race, but also for this race as well. In terms of knowing how good 6 Mile Bridge actually is. But I think for a Grade 1 winner over fences, a mark of 150, when you compare it to Regent Stroll, who's had an interesting season, and he's only getting £5 off of 6 Mile Bridge, I probably would lean 6 Mile Bridge's way in that little tussle, especially at the prices. And then just to touch on the other horse as well, the Meet Me by the Sea. Go back and look through his form. I don't think it's working out as strongly as it looked to have been working out back when he had his second run. At the end of January, I think it was looking like very strong form. Looking back now, I'm not sure I'd be taking the short price about him. That's all I'd say on him.
Okay. Andrew, what are your thoughts on the race?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a race I'd have a massively strong opinion on, Tom, to be honest. Of all the handicaps, I think there's plenty to go up in the air. Jake and I have been coming to blows over the last few weeks about Cocktail Divan. I can understand he's possibly a very well handicapped horse. If it was at Aintree, I could see the opinion to be all over him. I just think a stiff finish. I think he's a flimsy finisher at best. Doesn't find off the bridle. He could win on the bridle in this type of race, perhaps, but if he comes off the bridle, he'll be beat. And that's not the type of horse I'd like around Cheltenham.
That's a factual fact.
I've watched every single race of his back, and every single time he's come off the bridle, he's been beaten. So it is a factual fact at the moment. The problem is that I'm not going to hope. I hope that Ashley Simmons, whether he's the Ashley Simmons or not, he'll tell us that Ben Pauling's winning 10 races over fences. Pauling quietly confident.
Quietly,
yeah. He isn't bloody shut up about the horse.
Yeah. Which discourages me, because I always feel when you're training for JP, if you had a right good thing, JP would tell you to keep your mouth shut. And yes, here we are kind of every day of the week getting thrown Meet Me by the Sea propaganda. It's a very, very difficult race. Long-winded way, Tom, of saying I've very little say in the race, other than the fact I wouldn't be with the top of the market.
Ben Knight comments, where has the money come for Meet Me by the Sea? All I know is I know they're very influential people in the racing game, but Lydia Hislop, Ben Pauling and Johnny Deneen tipping the same horse will not have the market effect that it did have. So you don't need to work out who's been backing it. It's quite easy.
And on that note, Dan, we'll finish the race with you, I think.
Yes, it's incredibly tricky. It's probably the race I have the least strong opinion on, but I could question everything at the top of the betting. And Jordan's Cross is a horse I've almost earmarked as coming fourth in this and winning at Aintree. But the more I look at it, I actually just think he is the solid each-way option at this stage. Like, we know he acts around Cheltenham. He only ever does enough. He overcame a lot to win last time out in a race where the pace really wasn't on his side. He came from off the pace in a race where nothing was doing so. It's just getting to a stage now where you've got all these fancier profiles ahead of him. But I mean, Regent Stroll's windy enough, I think, as a horse in a finish up that hill. I really wouldn't be interested in him. Slade Still has been God knows how long since he actually won a race. Cocktail Devon might not run. Meet Me by the Sea was awful last time, and I'd be with Jake. I'm not sure the strength of his form is all that. 6 Mile Bridge I can see, but I mean, again, I don't think he beat anything at Sandown because Carlo Conti never went a yard that day. And winning a handicap of 150 is no mean task, whereas Jordan's Cross would almost be an old school type winner that he's just proven at the track. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. He might find one or two a bit too classy, but I think he'll be bang there. And I look down the list, I'm struggling to find anything else, to be honest.
Okay. Andrew Bushell says, Meet Me by the Sea will improve the application of cash. That is a phrase coined by Fran Berry, and a very good one as well. Thanks for that, Andrew. Right, we're moving on to the Pertemps, the 3 mile contest, 440 on day 3. And Supremely West heads the market. Right, Dan, I think I'll come straight back to you for this.
Yeah, not the deepest handicap you'll ever see. It hasn't really changed all season. It looked like it was going to be weak, and it is. Obviously, all the money has come for Supremely West, which, yeah, I can understand. I just think there's a far too big a difference between him and Electric Mason. Again, you kind of have to go back to that qualifier in October. We know it's worked out so well. Obviously, Supremely West was 3rd. Electric Mason was 2nd. Yes, there's a big weight differential now between the two for a few lengths, but it was about the way the race was run, which I think you can upgrade Electric Mason's run. He was in a very prominent position throughout. He and Gal Road got into a real battle from about 4 out. And Gal Road, probably the most consistent horse in training over hurdles. Like, he finished tailed off there. Like, Electric Mason had him beat a long way from home, left him a sitting duck turning in, and was just picked up by Marchand too, who's a live player in the Stayers hurdle. And then he went to Haydock and won the best 3 mile handicap in the land. Winners have come out of that left, right, and centre yet again. His 2 only starts over 3 miles. And his 2 previous seasons under rules, Chris Gordon was in atrocious form basically from the start of each season. This year, he's actually had a good campaign, and we're starting to see the best of this horse. And also, I think people look back and say the Martin Pipe last year was, what happened there? He finished the season in awful form. I think it was the KTDA effect from what I heard Chris Gordon say, that he was earmarked for the EBF final. And the owners came in and said, no, we're running in the Pipe, which meant he had to get one more run in, and then he was forced to the Pipe. But it was just season over at that stage. And they weren't exactly in great form anyway. This year, complete revelation over 3 miles. I think there's still a lot more to come from him. And at 10-1 versus 4-1? Yeah, I think the price is it's too big of a differential.
Okay, yeah, interesting thoughts. Thanks for all the comments, guys. Keep them coming. And please do remember to like the stream as well if you haven't already. That'd be great. I've actually got a sneaking suspicion that Yeah Man is going to run a race in the Pertemps. And I went through rather a kaleidoscope of emotions of this horse because I put him up, didn't realise that he hadn't been qualified. And then to my amazement, he actually ran a 2 mile hurdle to get qualified for this race. And then I was really sad because the Irish tax was £10. And now I think I'm not nearly as confident that he's going to run well. But I put him up, so I've got to go in. Yeah, man, hopefully he'll run a good race. Jake, what about you for the Pertemps?
Yeah, you put up Yeah Man at 25-1, and he's now drifted back out to 25-1. So.
Is he actually?
Yeah.
I'm a value
Unbelievable.
Hunter. I'm a value hunter.
No, I'd be the exact same as Dan. I can see the case with Supremely West. I'm sure others are going to make the case, but at the prices, I think Electric Mason is the one that I'd rather be on, just purely because there's 6 points between them, and it shouldn't be that far considering all of what Dan said. So yeah, not too much from me. Other than that, really, I thought that early in the season, I thought Latos was interesting, but kind of gone a little bit cold on him. All his form in France is on heavy ground, and it's coming up proper spring ground, isn't it? So that probably isn't in his favour.
Okay. GC London says, Yeah Man owes me a fortune. Well, GC, you can make it all back at the Cheltenham Festival.
Well, none of it back.
Or none of it. Hole in One says, without wanting to sound like a racing blogger, I've heard from connections they're extremely confident about Electric Mason. Huge price will go close. Okay. Josh, Pertemps.
I actually agree with the lads. I think Electric Mason at the moment is the bet in the race. I think there is too much discrepancy in the price between him and Supremely West. That being said, I think Dan has been experimenting with Supremely West. Maybe he was a Coral Cup horse and they wanted to run him over 2.5 miles last time out at Aintree and just find out. I think that he's got a good chance, yeah.
Very diplomatically put.
That was fantastic.
I think he'll win. I think he'll win well.
I love the use of the word experimenting there. That was very politician-like.
Well, no, but I think it's important because, you know, once he qualified at Cheltenham, it was important for him to really know the track. So I think it was important to go on the inside and possibly get, you know, cut a few corners. And then when you go to Sandown as well, I think it was probably good of him to run on really testing ground and see if he really stays 3 miles. And then obviously he didn't stay that day. So I think it was important then to see if he was a Coral Cup horse and to be back down in trip. So, and like in the process, he's obviously been disappointing and he's been dropped £3 to 135 from 138. So realistically, he needs a massive upturn in performance. And it's obviously a big ask, and the price clearly reflects that.
That is brilliant.
Head of PR for Ladbrokes.
Got a couple of comments here for Minella 60 for Kiki Joe as well. Andrew, finally for the Pertemps, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I think in a general year, I'd be against Supremely West just on a basis. I'm not quite so sure. I just think as Pertemps goes, this looks like a toss renewal to the standards that it usually is, because usually you have to be, you know, borderline a graded novice chaser, if not a grade 1 novice chaser, to go and win a Pertemps. And this looks a very average renewal in comparison. I think considering the way the ground is gone, I won't leave Duke Silver left unbacked at 33 to 1 on a bit of nicer ground. He won the Pertemps qualifier at Christmas time. I think actually looking back at the DRF race, he ran a nice race considering he hates soft, heavy ground. So if it is nicer ground, he'd have a chance. On the flip side of that, if there was suddenly a deluge of rain, I think Melbourne Shamrock would have a chance. I think he needs heavy ground though, and even though he did win at Naas, I thought he looked a little bit mulish in the process. Can completely understand the case for Supremely West. Interesting one, like considering, you know, 3 of the 5 of us on this panel would, you know, at any stage of the week give Sam Thomas a blowjob, to be honest. At what price does Say Different become a price? Because, you know, the horse is kind of drifting out. Not a single punter on planet Earth has backed this horse seemingly for the Pertemps. And I understand he's not the usual profile you'd have for the race. Still going to have no weight.
My issue with him is, like, he's won 4 on the trot. He started that run off 92. Is this a bit too much to ask from him?
Yeah, no, I do get that, but and in a normal year, yes. But I just like the fact that we're looking at Supremely West, who has ran 1 race of consequence this season and is 4 to 1, would indicate it is a rotten race. Well, that's good.
I'm still reading from the Sam Thomas comment, to be honest.
Wait, who do you disagree? You said 3 of the 5.
You're on the stream would. Who are the 2 that wouldn't? That's the interesting thing. Ben Knight is actually really good comment. Ben says, "Shall we get a price for Supremely West to win 27 Pertemps on the same mark of 135?" I quite like that. Do you know what, Ben? I know what's going to happen. He'll come alive in the spring. He'll just come alive, won't he?
Tom on his back.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Pertemps done and dusted. Onto the Kim Muir, Jericho the repping at the top of the market, and we'll come to you, Andrew, having just got your thoughts on Pertemps. So Kim Muir.
Tricky race, Tom, to be honest. I'd be against Jericho de Repine. I'd be against Waterford Whispers. I don't think Jerive de l'Est will struggle to get in by the looks of it. Yeah, the more and more I look at the race at the moment, I really wouldn't have a very strong opinion, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me if Jericho de Repene won, but I really couldn't have him. And like Waterford Whisper is one of these horses. He's just a tease of a horse, and he has never put it together over fences. Arguably, he never put it together over hurdles. I remember even a couple of Christmases ago, he shirked the issue behind Champagne Admiral at Leopardstown in a 2.5 mile handicap hurdle. Then he kind of went to the front too soon in the Martin Pipe after that. But his chasing form, it wouldn't leave much to the imagination for me. And there's been too many blow-ups in that. So as much as there's not, like Gordon seems to be quite keen on this Prong Garde de Trois, I'd have thought he might need a bit further than this. Very tricky race to get a handle on. I can understand the reason why you'd be intrigued by Kinrock up in trip. I think that would be the flimsiest of flimsy arguments, but there's an argument to suggest that up to a 3 mile trip, he'd be an intriguing horse off his mark.
Okay, you've got a couple of comments actually for Prong Garde à Trois. Just very quickly, Andrew, daily present £6 higher than last year. And quite famously, Tom, I think he was the one horse of Nolan's last year out of the 6 or 7 that ran that I didn't put up on Twitter, and he was the one horse that won. So that kind of sums it all up. I think he could run a grand race. I would struggle to believe how he could win. The one horse that I see, and like there are decent judges around that I'd have decent respect for that are putting up Sandor Clegane for this race. And I love Sandor. Josh could tell you how much I love Sandor. And, when it comes to it, will I give it the Adnan Januzaj? I want to tell you, I might as well do. Perhaps so. But this horse, the poor fella can't breathe. Like I ran the Battersea Park run this morning with my breathing sounding impaired at best, and yet it would sound better than that horse's breathing. And yet people are copping on to the fact, oh, well, he came fourth in the Brown Advisory 2 years ago. He hasn't ran a race of substance ever since. So I don't know. I find that a case that is even for my usual bias standards, is a struggle to make.
So you're saying this hasn't been a long-term plan? That's what all the write-ups suggest it has been.
Well, see, this is the issue. The last plan I got was the fact that they were going to try him over the banks. It's usually last chance saloon stuff. And if he runs no race to Kim Muir on Thursday, the only time he'll be back at the Cheltenham Festival will be in either the Hunter Chase or he'll be parading around as one of those show horses that's been retrained, I'd say.
You have to win at Cheltenham to be one of those.
Or can he just parade by the 4th pole? Just stay there.
For him to turn up to Cheltenham without racing, he'll have to buy a ticket.
I'll bring him if needs be.
Marcus McHenry has commented saying Gordon is keen on all of his horses. To be honest, Marcus, I mean, if it's Cheltenham, every trainer is keen on every horse that he sends or she sends, seemingly. Everyone is bullish. It's that type of meeting, isn't it? Dan, the Kim Muir for you.
This is a really bad race, isn't it? I didn't actually realise how bad this was until earlier today. Who is backing Waterford Whispers at 9-2? No, I fell off. Well, I didn't fall off the cliff. I backed him for the Martin Pipe.
Dan, to be honest, you're the one.
No. Honestly, you may think that. I've only ever backed him once, and that was in the Martin Pipe, and that was enough for me. And I was kind of waiting for the day it might look like he'd win a race, and I know he kind of teased people again at the DRF, but yeah, no, not for me at all. Dridley, he might well get in because this is cutting up massively, isn't it? Heracles Westwood, I was on a show with Warren Greatrex the other night. This has just been a plan for a while. He's not flashy in any sense, but he's the one you could just imagine running his race and finishing 3rd or 4th. Like he's just got course and distance form. I'm really struggling. It's got to the point where I was looking at We've All Been Caught and getting quite interested. And that's when I decided to pull the plug on this operation. But my argument would have been that obviously he was fourth in the race last year, and I guess Daily Present managed to pull out the miracle and win it again the year after. And he had the weirdest campaign of all campaigns last season, where he was with Christian Williams, and he switched back to Nigel halfway through the season. They ran him about 15 times in 3 weeks, and he still ran pretty well at Cheltenham and Aintree despite that. And now he's with Eric McNamara, and he actually ran pretty well in the Munster National, and has been left off fresh since Christmas. Maybe this has been a plan. I'm not sure, but that's the kind of race this is. Like, I think there will be angles into this once we have declarations, because I'm looking at all those who are jocked up, and like Il Rodotto, dearie me. You're struggling big time in this race, but I'll find something. No one will like it, but I'll find something.
Good stuff, Dan. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been caught, just to start off with, Eric McNamara put myself and Andrew Blair White completely away in the Munster National. We thought he was an absolute plot job. He looked to have everything in his favour, goes off 11-2 fab, and then gets beaten by his stablemate French Dynamite. It just absolutely sums up that operation. And
when did you get inside information on we've all been caught? When did this happen?
No. We just deduced it.
Oh, right. Well, so he put you away by you deducing it wrong. Okay.
Yes.
He ran fine. I mean, he went off fast.
He ran fine.
You were right.
But he didn't win.
Theory. Well, he doesn't tend to do winning very often, to be fair.
The horse I like it is controversial, it seems, but Waterford Whispers. I love having these horses that everybody else has given up the ghost. Everybody's given up. Thinks he has no chance. I love that horse. If they've actually shown that they have ability to get on at that point, because I think that you can actually get a good price. Unfortunately, you don't get a good price here. But as the lads mentioned, it is a terrible race. I wouldn't give many of these a chance at all. I think Pruns Gardotois I would give a chance to, but as someone said in the chat, you probably need 7 miles. I'd say that's probably about fair. The way he stayed on the last day in the national trial would suggest that. If they can get him rolling, if they can get him involved, then yeah, he'd have a chance. But Waterford Whispers, I think, it's kind of like what Josh was saying about the Ben Pauling horse a minute ago, the JP Ben Pauling horse.
Meet by the Sea.
He's kind of Meet by the Sea. He's been backed off the board, and I've not really seen anybody put him up. So it kind of suggests that there's money coming from somewhere. Obviously, Jericho Durepane is going to be the one that a lot of people want to be on. I just couldn't have his jumping at all. And perhaps JP's kind of thinking that way as well. I know Jericho Connor is going to be on Jericho Durepane, but it'd be interesting to see who's booked for Waterford Whispers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got a comment from Beriti Nurizajovic, who says at 8:34 p.m. there's more chance of Eamon Holmes staying than Waterford Whispered, and at 8:36 p.m. he's reiterated the fact. So he's very strong on Eamon Holmes having more staying power than a horse over the Kim Muir trip.
Supplementing.
Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? Josh, go on.
I like Kim Rock. I know Dan doesn't think he's going to stay, but I do. On the 3 starts we've seen of him this season, 2 of them have been at Cheltenham over much shorter, and he's travelled really well. I just think when quicker horses have come to him, he's not had to turn a foot to go with them. But I think he's still hit the line hard in all of those. I think that was definitely the case at Leopardstown last time out. And I just think he's well handicapped. I thought he was really interesting all season. I backed him a couple of times. He has cost me a few quid, but I do think a step up in trip, which Joseph has been so keen on since that run at Leopardstown, will bring the best out of him. I actually went back to his run at Dieppe in the Grand Steeplechase de Dieppe, a listed handicap. And it was his last run for Daniela Mele, and it was over 2 miles and 6 furlongs, which is the furthest this horse has been. And he got beat by a horse called Jump de Motte. And he clattered so many fences. He jumped terribly, and he just kept going. And the one thing that I took from that is I think he'll stay. So for me, Kim Rock, I really like him. I think he's definitely well handicapped off a mark of 131. He's going to be down the bottom. Interesting, Patrick Mullins doesn't have an obvious ride in this. He has ridden winners for Ronnie Bartlett before. Statler, you think of at the Cheltenham Festival. I wonder if he rides him. I don't know exactly, just complete speculation, but I think Kim Rock got a big chance.
I've got to say, if you're looking at the form of the French provinces, then you know you're.
Do we need an intervention? Is everything okay? Like, all of a sudden, you're deep into French form.
I think
this is concerning.
if there was ever a case that Josh is being underutilized by racing TV in terms of days, it is the fact that he's watching back races at DF.
It's like having Adam Mills on the show.
We do have a horse boost for Thursday. It's Supremely West in the Pertemps, who is boosted to 9-2. And
very generous.
Is that right, Jake? Cocktail Divan in the Jack Richards? Is that I've got a price?
No,
for that
I requested his price, non-runner, no bet only, and I don't think they wanted to give that. So unfortunately, we don't have Cocktail, but just Supremely West, yeah.
Okay,
So
well,
Supremely West 9-2, big price.
So 4-1 generally.
Yeah,
Industry best.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, best bets for Thursday, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, if Cocktail Divan runs, he'll be my best bet. If he's not running, let's just keep it simple and go Woodhoo in the mares because she will just win that race.
Yeah, I think she looks like a certainty, doesn't she? Almost. Yeah. Dan.
Marchand 2 in the stairs.
Come on. Don't know why I'm saying come on because I'm going with Bob Ollinger, but Andrew, what about you?
The most unliked horse in training, Tiupo.
And Josh?
Supremely West.
Cool. Okay, excellent stuff, which you can get 9-2 priced up. Right, on to Friday. We're going to the county next. And Josh, come to you for Friday's first handicap. What do you think?
I think it's very open. And to be honest with you, Bully, I don't fancy anything.
Fair enough.
I would fancy Charisma, but there's not a chance she gets in. I don't have anything. The one horse I don't fancy is Sinatra. I think I was certain he was going to run in the Imperial Cup. When he ran at Sandown at the start of January, I thought they got the fourth run in. They'll go there. Then they ran at Warwick a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, here we go. What's the situation there? Clearly a fifth run to get into this. This has been a massive afterthought. Fortune de Mer was their original county hurdle horse. Then it was Liv Conti. Both of those have been ruled out for the season. Sinatra, I think, is a backup. I think punters will get lured in because Dan Skelton and Willie Mullins have shared 9 of the last 10, I believe. He won't win the county hurdle. He's way too babyish. He's a strong traveller, but he will not get up the hill and he won't win a fight as well. So the one horse I couldn't put you off, the one horse I'd put you off is Sinatra.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, to be fair. Okay, Josh, what about you, Jake? What do you think about the county?
Yeah, well, I put up Carbell in the series. Obviously, there's a lot of love for him in the chat already. He's got a great chance. And I agree with this comment here. If Townend picks him, I think he's going to go off favourite for the county hurdle. He's already been back now into 8-1. I think I put him up at 16s. But yeah, really, really good chance. I know a lot of people are wondering how well handicapped he is off 150. I do understand that. But he is, again, he had grade 1 form at the end of last season. He was just up the backside of Romeo Coolio. If he can progress like he should do, considering that was his first season over hurdles, I think he's got a great chance. His run in the Grade 3 was a very good run. He was up against a horse who was having his Gold Cup that day, only just touched off despite going off even money favourite. I thought he ran an extremely good race. And Matt Toombs kind of raised this in Road to Cheltenham the other day. It's kind of like the new Willie Mullins approach of getting a horse to the county. Have one or no runs going into the Cheltenham Festival, and then you're basically still a novice in terms of you still got a lot of potential left to give. So I think he's got a great chance. And if, as I said, if Paul Townend rides him, he'll go off favourite, I think. The other horse I will mention, again, has been mentioned by the chat already, is Celtic Dino. If it does stay good or quick spring ground, I think he's got one more race left in him this season. I love Sam Thomas more than anybody, potentially even more than Andrew, but his horses do hit that limit of runs. All right, we'll have a fight about that later. But his horses do hit a limit in their season as to they cannot win any more races at that point because they've already been either over raced, had their targets. I like the fact that he's had 3 runs in the autumn. Obviously, first time out was his main target, the World Champion Hurdle. He's took that out nicely. The form has worked out ridiculously well. He's then gone into some graded races, ran behind Woodhoo. He's then been given a massive break. And I think this massive break is what gives him a chance to have one last big run this season. And in a race where, he's off, 147, I think his mark is. Certainly not a gimme, but the form is ridiculously good that he's already recorded this season. And he just needs it, as Sam has said before, like a road. So if it is like a road, I will be there.
Okay. Got a couple of comments in. Big Shug says, I'm on Mercia anti-post, but it's a poor county this year. We've got Celtic Dino for me at 33, says Jack. And I like what ZB Rogan has done, says absurd is an absurdly good price at 20-1. I've done 6.5 on the jump show, and hopefully she can run a good race back to 2 miles. Just got run off it last year, of course, to the shag round, my jump show friends. But hopefully this time she can do it. And she missed the Moor battle, so I'm quite pleased about that. She was entered for there, but didn't go. So hopefully that can work. Coming fresh horse down to Cheltenham. Do you know what's really funny is I'm starting to see a theme here that when I give my thoughts on a race, that there's a different person starts laughing. So we had Andrew earlier.
I'm impressed it's taken you an hour and 3/4 to figure out that pattern.
I'm just looking up what Shagran means, Tom, to be honest.
Mate, I've been watching too many races.
Some French flyer, to be honest.
Bully, I lived with you for 2 years. You're a couple more than 6.5.
Hey. We're still not at 9 o'clock. We're still not on the cut-off point for that kind of chat.
YouTube doesn't work on the watershed, mate.
No. Go on then, Dan. What do you think about the county?
I just want to be able to back Charisma for a big field handicap, but it's just never going to happen. And she's going to run at Kelso 2 weeks later, and she's going to be 4-5, and it's going to be miserable. But she'd win if she turned up. I think she's so well handicapped, it's ridiculous. But like Jay got Celtic Dino, I'm just coming around and more I look at it. Form is just rock solid. He's still very lightly raced compared to a lot of those. And I think a mark 147 he's fine. When you look at the substance of his form and look at what Alexi and Wilful have done in behind him, great run behind Woodoo as well. Kempton never really went to plan because it just was never really off, but still wasn't beaten all that far. I think 147 is still very workable. And he hasn't had many goes in handicaps. And Jake said the fact he's had a break would suggest one more big target in mind. And this looks perfect for him if the ground is decent.
Yeah, okay. And finally, Andrew on the county.
Yeah, I agree with Jake in the term of Carbo. I'm very keen on him myself. I can see Townend riding him. And just, it doesn't look like a massively good race in terms of, I agree completely with what Josh was saying in terms of if Fortune de Maire was here, if Liv Conti was here, you'd be very scared of the skeleton runners. They were the two that seemingly were earmarked. They're both not here. Sinatra kind of, as a result, has been shoehorned into this. Doesn't look like it's got too much. My worry, I'm a big fan of Celtic Dino as a horse. I couldn't see him running here, to be honest. I know that looks odd. It's not really Di Walter's MO to be running them at Cheltenham for just the sake of it. And it wouldn't surprise me.
Where does he go, though?
I'd say he just runs straight in the Aintree hurdle, to be honest. Because Sam's been banging on all the year that he needs more than 2 miles. And arguably...
He's 2 mile 1. Happy days.
That is very fair. Arguably, though, you could say that his best form or his best run was behind Woodoo, which was over obviously 2 mile 3 at Ascot. So it just wouldn't surprise. I wouldn't be, fair enough if you're backing him at the price he is, non-runner, no bet. That looks fair enough. I would be doubtful he'd turn up in a game.
So you're saying if he does turn up, he will win?
No. He wouldn't be.
Damn it.
Okay, good stuff. Let's move on to the final race. Shall we going to cover that? Is the Martin Pipe, the boys' race. Looks really tricky, doesn't it? I have to say. I mean, it always is, but this year looks fiendish. Andrew, going to come straight back to you for this.
Yeah, gonna take. Willie Mullins has got the top 2 in the betting. I like a Willie Mullins horse in the race, and yet it's around 12th in the betting, which possibly is rogue to say the least. I am very keen on Jump Allen Whether he runs in this or whether he runs in the Bet MGM Cup, I'll be backing him no matter where he goes. I think he's got a nice enough profile for the race. He was progressive last year. I know he hasn't run in a proper race this year, but they gave him a spin in a charity race with his groom riding him a few weeks ago, and he still managed to win despite that. And I just get the impression he's just one of these horses that's got a lot more mileage off his mark than plenty of these. The Passing Wife would have been obviously a massive chance in this race. He goes for the Albert Bartlett. Mind boggles as to why he runs in that race rather than this. But that's just the way it's ended up being. People will think that Rock Dino is an absolute certainty, and you can understand they've run him twice very quickly in maiden hurdles to get the 5 runs in, and he was quite close up the RSL Kairos the last day. It's just not one that really inspires me. I have no idea why. I think people have made a little bit more of him than he might be. So as a result, I think Jump Allen, who's currently 20-1, I think, in the majority of places, looks a fair place. And if you're a Girls Aloud fan on the Thursday night of the Cheltenham Festival, you might be intrigued by the Midnight Tipper.
Nice promo.
All I can tell you is that no case in any preview you will watch will end with a Girls Aloud reference as being the team. This is why you come to these shows, for exclusive insights like that.
I've got a few comments. Frankie John, Air of Entitlement, Active Authority, etc. Kelly Stoire has been smashed in the last few days, Tyler. Yes, he has. Josh, what are your thoughts on the Martin Pipe?
I quite like Rock Dino. I just thought he was well handicapped at 131. Thought it was a good run behind Al Kairos last time out. I think it's job done. Get the 5th run. French form is very solid. His last run at Auteuil. The 4th came out when he finished 3rd, St. Crystal, and won a listed race by 6 lengths. I just think it's really solid form, and he's going to be right at the bottom. Yeah, I just about him, Rock Dino.
Okay, good stuff. Dan?
And does anyone know he definitely runs here? Because he's still in the MGM and the county.
I think he runs here.
He runs here. Then it baffles me. Obviously, then all the money's become for Kel Histoire.
I'm not a massive fan of the other Mullins horse, only because one run behind Salvatore Mundi would put him in it, but he's been completely lackluster since. Maybe that's by design, but I've not seen much to suggest he can win this.
No, there's leaps of faith required. I think the same with Rock Dino, though. I mean, he's been obviously battered out of the way by Mighty Park in a race he was never put in, and the El Kairos run was a crawl, and I think anything rated 100 or more could have been there or thereabouts. Since was the reason why
I think the reason why I fancy Rock Dino is I would imagine at the time when Mighty Park won at Fairy House, Willie Mullins would have had 2 in there and would have gone perfect. Mighty Park is going to be our supreme horse or Turner's horse, and this thing can just jot around and finish 2nd or 3rd. And then I'd say he was delighted when Gordon entered Al Kairos, because he was never going to look impressive against a horse that's going to be 5-1, 6-1 for a supreme. So I don't know. I think he's out of the 2. I think I've seen a little bit more from him, and you've seen him do it against top horses, possibly like Kel Histar's finishing down the field. It's a massive leap of faith.
Yeah, maybe. He's definitely been a plan to get him in a handicap. Just not overly convinced. And this is a winnable race, really. I mean, obviously, a Pied and Arm isn't your typical Skelton handicapper coming into a race at the festival, in that we kind of know where he stands. He's on the up, but we've seen enough of him to think he's not going to be chucked in off 129 so far. Obviously, the Passing Wife not being in here is a massive blow. So I've got 2 at a prices. The first one has already been mentioned in the comments, and that is Frankie John, who was always on the radar for this for me. He's just been so poorly campaigned recently. And I think almost the fact he's had a little break since the DRF for him is like a lifetime, because he was chucked into the Lawlers and Nace about 10 days after winning his maiden hurdle, which was just cruelly unnecessary. He had a slog of a race there, and then what did they do? Let's chuck him into Nathaniel Lacey for another slog. And watch that back. He was always out wide with no cover. Dennis Hogan took him completely on the other side of the track to all the others, and he actually came into it turning in like he was going to be 3rd. And I think his early exuberance with getting no cover just told late on. It was a not too dissimilar story in the Lawlers of Nace. But you look at his best form is come over intermediate trips on decent ground. Obviously, he beat Jalon Dudery over Christmas, and he was a 5-length second to Dr. Steinberg back in Galway. So I think that's solid enough form. Irish novices, there aren't many of them this year. He's one of them. £7 rise was harsh, but I think he has to go here rather than the Bartlett. I have no idea why he'd go down that route. And the other one, everyone is going to absolutely hate. So I'm already prepared for the pelters that are going to come my way. But I don't think it's a very deep race. So I'm going slightly off-piste, and that is de Tomp on Tomp for Martin Keithley, who Jake's turned his back on me. I can't believe it. He's had that move planned all night as well. I know it's been in his head. It's been a rehearsed move. I'll wait till he can turn it back. In a normal year, I wouldn't ever comprehend this. I wouldn't comprehend this, but I think you can make a case. Obviously, go back to his early season form. He beat Tip Top Tim, who's now rated 138. And then he won a very weak novice hurdle here at the October meeting. Percy Shelley was second, rated 128. He made the error of all errors 2 out, and yet still managed to pick up and go on to win again. That was a fair performance. And we talk about Supremely West going on the inside of the track. May I introduce you to the Tomp on Tomp next time out, who went on the inside of the track at the November meeting and gave himself no chance in doing so on his first handicap start. Then they dropped him down to 2 miles at Kempton, where again they put the gun to his head and made him go forward, which was just never going to work. Win surgery since. Go back and watch his run at Ascot, where they dropped him in for the first time, and he actually finished off this race from off the pace incredibly well. Like, he's actually learned to race. Freddie Keithley's been riding him all season, basically, so he would ride him here. He's twice the jockey he was at the early part of the year. In a race that's poor, I imagine this has probably been a bit of a plan for a long time to get him here, considering Freddie rides. He won't be 33 to 1 on the day. He'll probably be 40s or 50s, but at a big price. I think you can make a case for him. Despite all the prompted boos and all of that, I think it's a fair case.
Yeah, there's a lot of boos in the comments.
It's a great case suggesting that it would be 17 points bigger on the day.
Yeah, but I'm not saying back him now. If I was saying, yeah, pile him at the price. He's going to be an unfashionable profile because he's an unfashionable trainer. But, I mean, you're going to have some right wrong-uns in here, and I think he's got more upside than most of them.
Will he get in?
In a year that I think will cut up, I think he won't be far away off 126. But again, you just wait to the day.
I'd be more intrigued with Frankie John, considering he beat Jalon Dudery, who yourself and Josh in the quarters, and then the Gold Cup next season as a novice, I'd say.
Well, I think he might just go straight to Aintree. We don't need to go back to Cheltenham. Leave the Gold Cup for the year after.
Oh yeah. That's
Someone's commented saying "Boo Earns," which for anyone who doesn't know, that's a Simpsons reference. It's bloody hilarious. Lee Phillips has asked for my tip. Unbelievable, Lee. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I don't really have one, to be honest.
Oh, brilliant.
Lee's been put away.
However, I am keen on the chance of East India Express to run a good race. So hopefully you can run one. But that will be.
No.
I'm not going to read that comment. I'm not even read that comment.
Read it.
No, I'm not reading it. Right,
the wheels of the game to fall off.
The comments are descending into a den of debauchery as we head to Jake for your thoughts on the mutton pipe, Jake.
Yeah, it's an open race. I don't think John Pallen's going to get into the Coral Cup or the BetMGM Cup, whatever we're calling it these days. So if he comes here, I'll be very interested, especially who's riding. That might give away a few clues as to how fancied he is. The one I thought that I've not really seen any talk about at all that actually would have a sexy Irish novice, should we say, profile is Open Secret for Gordon Elliott. I'm not saying off 133 he's ridiculously well handicapped, but I think that he's got that run behind Gin Tonic, which will appease Andrew Blair White's little looks he was giving me there. He then ran in the whole race as well. The Grade 2, the novices hurdle on Trials Day, famed for the whole before the course, on the course before we started, and he was behind Cryptic Jim, who is going to the Bartlett. It's got a decent chance. Taurus Bay, I think he's going to the Turners. Again, he's a nice enough horse. Fortune Timmy was just ahead of him. He's rated 130 odd. He was in the EBF entries, but didn't get declared. I'm not sure why. And he had Heads Up behind him as well. And Heads Up obviously won a listed race since. So I'm not saying he's ridiculously well handicapped or anything like that. I think Gordon's kind of said that a few times, that he doesn't really have anything for the pipe that's, ridiculously well handicapped this year. But he had to qualify for this race by going to the Michael Purcell that was obviously 22 days ago. He was behind Bon Vivier. Timeless Tracy was in third. He's run well since as well. I think there's just a lot in his favour in terms of, I think he's just that type of horse who's going to be grinding out the finish. And I think he's around 20-1. That just seems like a pretty big price in a race where Kel Hessoir would interest me. It's just you have absolutely zero confidence that he'll stay the trip until he tries it. And you're taking, 6-1 now about it. It's very short, isn't it? So, yeah, I just thought Open Secret was a nice, sneaky one there.
And of Gordon's, he's got to be more interesting than He Can't Dance and Wendrock, surely.
Oh,
He
absolutely,
Can't Dance
yeah.
Especially. Dearie me.
We got some priced up boosted bets for Friday. Carbow in the county at 9-1, 6.5. As I mentioned, I'm a big fan of hers in the county, boosted to 18-1, and Frankie John in the Martin Pipe boosted to 40s. So those are the three priced up boosted bets in Friday's card. And finally, we're going to get day 4 best bet from the team. Josh, start with you.
Maestro Conti each way in the Triumph Hurdle.
Lovely. Andrew?
Carbo each way in the county.
Very good. We'll go to Jake for yours.
All aboard Gaelic Warrior in the Gold Cup. Paul Townend aboard. Obviously, Gallopin Deschamps, unfortunately, not going to be with us. But yeah, Gaelic Warrior's got an unbelievable chance. And Paul being on has given me all the confidence in the world.
Best bet in the Gold Cup. I love it. And Dan, what about you?
If he's 40-1, go on. Frankie John in the Martin Pipe.
Nice. Yeah.
Hey.
There we go. 41 boost. I'm going to go with Panic Attack in the Mare's Chase for Dan Skelton. Right. Andrew, how is that something to look like bemused by? She's got a great chart.
And she's in the black and orange silks as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to be your bookmaker, Bullis.
Right, that's pretty much it, I think, guys. Great, really enjoyed that. That was tremendous fun. Thanks very much to Josh and Andrew for coming on for Lex Talk Racing and doing this with us. It means a lot to us. And Dan and Jake, as ever, thanks for your hard work. Please do remember, everybody, to like. If you've enjoyed the video, we'd love to get to 500, as mentioned at the start, for this live stream handicap special. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to us. We're nearly at 4,000. And the same comments apply to the Let's Talk Racing channel as well. If you haven't subscribed to them, please do. And we shall be back after the Cheltenham Festival on the Jump Show for our review show. And I'm sure Let's Talk Racing will be doing one as well. So make sure you follow that as well. And best of luck for everybody on the week. It's going to be a cracker. We're only a few days away now. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you soon.
What about a nap?
For the meeting?
Up to the meeting.
Okay, go on then.
Come on, we'll go through it each. One nap.
Go on then, Josh.
Supremely West.
Okay. Andrew?
I've had a theory, an iceberg theory.
Yeah. Go on, Dan.
Madara in the plate.
Andrew? Jake?
Sorry, Tom. I have
Another theory. Have another theory. Another theory.
So when you're doing the bet, make sure you double up the stakes.
I've had another theory.
Yeah, Lossie Mal for me in the champion hurdle. Come on, the girl.
I think I need a nap, but my nap is going to be Big Bad Bob in the stairs. Go on, the all-in.
You just ruined the multiple. We had a good multiple going on there.
Was he
2 hours led up to that.
Was he your best bet on Thursday?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
he?
yeah, you know he was. He was. Yeah.
Big Bad Bob's a stallion.
Yeah, because Dan said mash and 2, and I went like this. Come on, and then I was like, actually, I think it's a bit of a weird reaction from me, to be honest. Yeah, that's the end. Cheers, guys. See you later. We'll see you all very soon, and best of luck at Cheltenham next week of getting involved.
And now we hold pose until it ends.
Now what?